Om Shanti and good evening. Dadi, did you want to say anything first? Did you want? So, Daddy will say a few things very shortly. I love question and answers with Daddy, partly because, as we experienced in the last few days,
Om Shanti to karo, Om Shanti.
We did. One Om Shanti. 3, Daddy? 1 Om Shanti we had.
अच्छा.
Daddy was with Baba.
बहनें और भाई ओम शांति. अच्छा. राबन मेरी टेस्ट लेने बैठा है.
Rob is going to be testing Daddy today.
No. Never test you, Daddy. We'll ask you some lovely questions that the brothers and sisters have sent in. Some may be a little challenging. One is slightly bizarre, but they're all entertaining, and Daddy will answer them in her own way, of course. One of the lovely things that I was saying about asking Daddy questions is that, as we saw up in Oxford and then here, she'll answer the question and then she'll play with it for the next few days and go deeper into it. And so that's why it's always great having Daddy's questions, because she'll play with them and then develop them. So, just moving towards the first question, as you know, as we all know, the story of the Yagya is the greatest love story. And it is the love story upon which all the other love stories in the drama are based. And there are many. And of course, with love stories, there are always challenges. And a few times we fall over, a few times we make errors. But the love story triumphs in the end, which is always wonderful. And of course, for us, we know that all these things that happen are in the drama, so why should we worry? And I rather like this morning that Jayanti-ben was talking about us being Yagya Rakshak, if I've got it right, defenders of the Yagya. So I think that's great. That's a great thing to be, and I love that concept. So, which sort of leads us to the question to Daddy, as the Yagya, as the institution gets bigger, and it's grown so much since I came along in 1984, when we all had a sort of a very strong connection with the heart of the Yagya, and there are so many, possibly not many of us here today, who came in late and who don't have such a connection with the Yagya, and sometimes I feel that as we get bigger, I think, oh no, where's the heart going? So my question to Daddy is, and this is one that you sent in, as the Yagya gets bigger, how do we keep and develop our real deep connection with the heart of the Yagya, which I always think is love and forgiveness? These things, how do we keep these and develop these things in our lives and in the Yagya when we feel it may be, some of us, it's getting away from us, and we want to keep that center strong?
Question तो बड़ा अच्छा उत्तर तो शॉर्ट में ही चाहिए ना?
Do you want short answers or long answers?
Or Daddy, I don't know, we've got an hour and a half, we've got about 5 questions.
Family बैठी है.
So family sitting here.
तो family सब समझ गए हैं.
And so everyone knows within the family what happens.
पहले मैं कहती हूँ challenge शब्द नहीं कहना चाहिए.
First of all, we shouldn't be using the word challenge.
जब challenge कहेंगे हाँ ये तो बड़ी challenge आई है. तो शिकिला सब कैसे हो चैलेंज आई है ये नहीं
Your face becomes small when you think of something as a challenge and you think that is something really difficult. You have to
तुम
face a
खुद ही
challenge.
जब कह रहे हो ड्रामा है तो ये बहुत यज्ञ के सारी हिस्ट्री के अंदर ड्रामा की नॉलेज बिल्कुल जो अंदर से ड्रामा अच्छा है तो घबराहट वगैरह नहीं आती है गुयता है इसमें कुछ नवीनता आने वाली है
You yourself are saying that it's a drama, and so when you think of a drama, then there's nothing to be afraid of. Everything
Yeah,
is
yeah,
fixed
mere
in the
ko
drama.
theek
Look at Dadi. You'll get some extra power.
क्यों क्या होता है क्वेश्चन पूछने वाले क्या करते हैं आंसर सुनते नहीं और क्वेश्चन निकालते जाते हैं ये ऐसे नहीं करना
Dadi doesn't like interviewers who are constantly thinking of what to ask next instead of listening to the answer that you've just asked the question of.
नहीं मैं नहीं रखो नहीं क्या होता है आप बहुत बुद्धिमान है ना तो टेस्ट लेते हैं क्या उत्तर देती है फिर उसमें क्वेश्चन इसको पूछ के इनको बुझाए हैं
That is saying that perhaps you're so intellectual that you're testing Daddy to see what answer she's going to give, and so you want to ask her such questions that you wonder what she's going to come up with.
बाबा ने इतनी अच्छी गिफ्ट दी है जब मैं किसी को भी किस मैं अपना है ना भाई आप अपने भाइयों बहन भाइयों से बात करती हूँ
Just speaking to my brothers and sisters, and so we're part of the family, and so everything's okay.
इसलिए बाबा क्या करता था साकार मैं जैसे आज बोला कल भी बोला हर बात में मुझे साकार बाबा की बात याद आती है बाबा देखता था ऐसे भाई है अभी कोई बहन बताने वाली भी ऐसी हो नहीं तो उस बच्चे उल्टा सुल्टा उत्तर दे देंगी तो ये और ही क्वेश्चन पूछ के उसको मुझा देगा बेचारी को
Baba would always be aware of the people that come to ask questions, and she's saying like people like you would come, intellectual people would come, and if the person, the sister who's explaining to them, if she doesn't know how to explain properly, then she'll confuse the person who's come, and so Baba would make sure that the person who comes would get the appropriate teacher.
और हम क्या करती थी ये सब देख जैसे ये भी ऐसे सुनने क्वेश्चन का आंसर सुनने के बजाय ऐसे से न करे इसलिए तो देखती थी सुन रहा है अच्छा यहाँ सोच रहा है तो इनसे और क्वेश्चन पूछूं भाई आंसर दे रही हूँ सुनो तो आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा
So that is also wanting everyone to be listening with attention. You're all hearing the questions and the answers. Robin's asking the questions, but at the same time, Dad is paying attention that you're not just thinking about the questions, but also listening to the answers so that you get the answer to the question.
आंसर शार्ट में ये है एक तो यज्ञ रचने वाला भगवान है
So the answer in short, it's God who has created the yagya.
जो समझते भगवान यज्ञ रचने भगवान के बच्चे हैं
So God has created the yagya and we are God's children.
संगम युग है
Part of sitting at the confluence age.
कलय युग कहाँ सत्युग तो आने वाला है संगम में तो सारा इतना परिवर्तन ऐसा होने वाला है होगा जरूर
The Iron Age has been left behind, the Golden Age is yet to come, and we know that at the Confluence Age there's definitely going to be transformation.
उसमें ये नहीं समझना नए विचारों को पता नहीं है नए जल्दी समझ जाते पुराने पूछते पूछते रुक गए हैं
So don't think that the new ones who come perhaps wouldn't understand, but they're able to understand quickly, whereas the old ones, they're still hesitating, thinking about asking questions and not getting a clear clarification. They come to a standstill.
कोई नए अच्छा हर्ष तो नहीं पुराने कहते मस्जिद यज्ञ की सिस्टम समझ में नहीं आता है मैं तो अपने ढंग से चलूँगा बस ठीक है
The new ones that come, they'll start walking along and doing everything accurately, whereas the old ones that come, they'll say, well, I can't understand the systems of the yagya and I'm happy to move along just as I'm doing.
ऊपर से देख लिया अंदर से यज्ञ से कितनी प्राप्ति है यज्ञ रचने वाला कौन है ये सब हमारे ब्राह्मण बहन भाई है वो अच्छी तरह से प्यार से देख करके जान करके खुश होवे ना
It's like they're just seeing everything superficially, but instead of going right deep inside the yagya and seeing how everything is working, knowing that we're all part of the one family, all of these are my brothers and sisters. And so rather than having that deep connection, it's just looking at everything superficially.
बस दो शब्दों में जवाब है, संगम युग है, भगवान ने यज्ञ रचा है, बाबा ने मुझे ब्राह्मण बना करके यज्ञ सेवा अर्थ अपना बना के रखा है, भाग्यवान हूँ.
So just in 2 words, the answer is, God has created the sacrificial fire, made me his child, and made me a Brahman, and made me be the server of the yagya so that I'm able to look after the yagya.
बाकी कोई क्वेश्चन उठाते हैं, मूंझते हैं, तो खुद भी औरों को बेचारों को सेवा के बदले उनको मुंझा देते हैं.
Sometimes you take such questions that sometimes you yourself are confused, and so you bring up such questions that you confuse the other people that come also.
छोटी सी कहानी सुनाती हूँ.
So just a short story I'd like to share with you.
कराची में बाबा का बंगला क्लिफ्टन पर था, पर एक शांतामणि के बाप का बंगला था. वो जैसे अच्छा था, शांति से कभी शहर में आता था ना, बाबा उस बंगले में रहता था. थोड़े 2-3-4 लोग रहते थे, तभी बाबा उस बंगले में था. बताओ फिर मैं.
This was at the time when they were at the Clifton Beach, but just a short distance from there, there was another bungalow there that belonged to a relative of Dadi Shantamani. And often Baba used to come there and stay in that bungalow because it was a very peaceful place.
तो क्या था, रात को 2 बजे बहुत करके बाबा बाथरूम के लिए उठता था.
Generally, Baba would wake up around 2 o'clock to go to the bathroom.
तो बाबा की रूम अंदर थी, मैं बाहर रूम में सोई पड़ी थी.
Baba's room was right inside and Dadi's room was just on the outside.
जब बाबा उठा तो मैं भी उठ के खड़ी बैठ गई.
So when Baba woke up, then this woke up Dadi also, so Dadi sat up.
तो बाथरूम से होकर के आ रहा था, कहो यहाँ बच्ची.
And Baba called her just as he was going past Dadi's room.
जो सच्ची दिल वाले होते हैं ना, पता नहीं कैसे भगवान शिक्षा दी है. बच्ची, मैं खुश हो गई, बाबा बुलाया, कमरे में लेके गया. कहते बच्ची, नहीं थी, थोड़ा समय, किसके बातों में कभी नहीं आना. वो दिन आज का दिन भगवान ने ऐसी कोई मैं तुम पता ये बात कैसी, तो बता सुनने बुलाएंगे. मैं क्या जानूँ इस बात को. इसमें इतनी सेफ रही हूँ, साफ रही हूँ, बिल्कुल.
So those who have an honest heart, then God finds a way of giving them some teaching, some guidance, some correction. And so at that time, 2 o'clock in the morning, Baba's calling Dadi and saying, child. And then the guidance that Baba's saying is that never get involved in matters of other people, wanting to know, being interested in what's happening about other people. And from that day onwards, it's like that has been my protection, that I've never wanted to know what's happening about others. And this has really kept me very safe. Otherwise, people generally come to you and ask you, do you know what's happening about this? Do you know what's happening about that? It's like they come to you for gossip.
जैसे बाबा ने समझ थी, बाबा के पास आने थे, पता था कोई आत्मा सत्वगुणी होती है, कोई रजोगुणी होती है, कोई तमो बेचारा पुरुषार्थी है, कोई इतनी पहचान हो. सत्वगुणी कोई विरला होता है, बाकी और ही रजोगुणी तमोगुणी मेरे को भी उसमें ले. तो इस बाबा के 2 बजे रात के जो बोल है ना, उसने मेरी रक्षा कर दी.
So Baba is very much aware of souls being of different levels. Some are sattoguni, some are rajoguni, some are tamoguni, and so Baba is wanting us to become sattoguni, and so those who are sattoguni, they never get involved in the matters of other people. And even if you're making effort to be sattoguni, there are others who'd want to bring you down because they themselves are of that level, being rajoguni or tamoguni. And so not getting involved with such souls, but just constantly making effort to be a sattoguni soul. And that has really been my protection from that day onwards.
आदि से लेकर के जो बाबा के बच्चे पैदा हुए अभी तक सबका प्यार है, मेरा भी प्यार है. बाकी बातों में मेरे को जाना ही नहीं है, not allowed.
From the very beginning, yes, they're all Baba's children, and I have love for them, they have love for me, everyone has love for Baba. But other than that, I don't want to get involved with other things that really don't concern. That's not allowed at all.
ज़्यादा नहीं बताएंगे और क्वेश्चन पूछो बाकी यज्ञ रक्षक और अपना रक्षक परिवार का प्यार ये होना ज़रूरी है
Not going into too much detail, but it's necessary to be a protector of the yajna, to be able to protect the self and to have that love for the family.
ये हमारा फर्ज कहता है
This is my duty.
ओके
Okay.
ठीक है थैंक यू नेक्स्ट
Daddy, one thing, Robin's not an intellectual. He's an actor. And actors, actors just deal with feelings, so they're actually...
ऐसे तुम तो सबके तरफ से क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो ना
That is saying that she didn't really mean intellectual in that way, but you're asking questions on behalf of everyone.
अभी मैं भी एक्टर हूँ ना
So even Dadi is an actor at the moment.
एक्टर
Number one.
Number one actor.
एक्टर प्ले करते हैं ऑडियंस को क्या प्राप्ति हो रही है
The actor plays their part to make sure that the audience is getting some attainment, some benefit,
कुछ समझ मिले
so that they get some understanding.
इसलिए तो अच्छा है
So it's good. You're asking good questions.
Okay. So this one is a bit more light-hearted, perhaps. Daddy, you are as quiet as a lake, lively as a volcano, mischievous as Krishna, more so probably, and sometimes as stern as a walrus. Did you always have these wonderful qualities? Stern. Repeat. Daddy, you are as quiet as a lake, lively as a volcano, mischievous as Krishna, maybe more so, and sometimes as stern as a walrus. A walrus is a not very stern sea animal. He's really quite friendly. Okay. Did you always have these qualities? Were they Baba's? Or have they grown with you? Take as long as you like, Daddy.
अपन से काली हूँ
I'm Kali towards myself.
आप लोगों से शीतला रहना है
And I have to remain Shitala, the goddess of coolness, with all of you.
अगर मैं अपन से स्ट्रिक्ट न रहूं ना तो सब मुझे पता नहीं क्या कर देते थे
If I wasn't to remain strict with myself, I don't know what you'd all do to me.
जो यज्ञ के एक नियम मर्यादा सभ्यता स्ट्रिक्ट हूँ
I'm very strict with myself in terms of following the disciplines of the yajna, the maryadas, the code of conduct of the yajna, and the routine systems.
आज के दिन में आंटी अंकल सावी पला देखा ना जब करीबन में जा रहे हैं बड़े प्यार में फोन आ रहे हैं
So today Dadi has been receiving lots of phone calls from the people who used to be in Guyana because they heard that Dadi is going to Guyana. So uncle, auntie, Gayatri sister, Savi, they've all been phoning Dadi.
और 75 से वो पैदा हुए हैं
And they took birth in 1975.
इतना अंकल का प्यार है इतना आंटी का प्यार है क्योंकि उसने देखा कायदे में भी चलती है प्यार भी करती है
Uncle and auntie have really so much love for Dadi because they're seeing that Dadi is very particular about following all the systems of the yagya, all the disciplines, everything about the yagya, and at the same time giving so much love to everyone.
हिंदी में कहते कायदे में ही फायदा है.
In Hindi, there's a saying that there's benefit in observing the laws.
थोड़ा कोई बेकायदे काम करता है तो न उसके लिए इज्जत रहती है, न कोई उसको उसे देगा, ऊपर से देगा, पर बेकायदे काम करने वाले को इज्जत नहीं मिलेगी.
If someone's doing something that's not lawful, then others will not give them that regard and respect, and even if they do, it will only be superficial.
पर बाबा की मूल्य आप साकार की सुनते हो, जो सुनाइए, अव्यक्त मूल्य सुन रहे हैं. लवफुल बहुत है, पर रूप लवफुल है, पर ला अच्छी तरह से सुनाता है.
We've been hearing Baba's Sakar Murlis, we've also been hearing Baba's Avyakt Murlis, and in that we see how Baba is very lawful in the way that he gives us the message, but at the same time he's also very lawful in the teachings that he gives us.
लव इतना देता है जो उसको सुनने, समझने, धारण करने की लव से शक्ति आवे.
Baba gives us so much love that through that love we're able to receive power, to be able to hear what Baba is saying and to be able to imbibe that also.
इसलिए मेरा तो मीठे बच्चे मैं तो नहीं कहेंगी ने, पर मीठे बाबा ने मीठे बच्चे कह करके यहाँ तक सिखा के तो लायक बनाया है.
I'm not going to go around saying sweet child, but it's our sweet Baba who has called all of us the sweet children and made us sweet and worthy to the extent that we are now.
मम्मा बाबा को देखा है, अच्छी तरह से देखा है, सदा ही मुस्कुराते रहते हैं, मुस्कुराते प्यार से बोल के, फिर देखेंगा अभी बच्चा तैयार है, फिर ऐसी शिक्षा देंगे हाल तो बाबा के घर को याद करे.
Mama and Baba would always be watching everyone, watching the children, and then they'll be seeing that yes, the child is now ready.
ये लटके चटके नहीं है यहाँ बीच में.
They're saying that the child is not caught up with anything, they're not attached to anyone in any way, and so they feel that yes, the child is now ready to take the teachings that they want to give. And so then they will give such guidance, such teaching that then they'll never forget Baba's home after that.
इसलिए बाबा तो एक बारी क्यों अंकल आंटी की बात सुनाई, उनको बहुत जैसे यज्ञ में आए ना, कई बातें यज्ञ की सिस्टम की इतनी अच्छी लगी, इसलिए वो गयाना का निमित्त बना.
Why I remembered Uncle and Auntie was that when they first came into knowledge, they really liked the systems of the yajna so much and they took benefit from it. That's why they became the instruments for the service that started in Guyana.
वो जयंती निमित्त थी, पर नॉलेज कितनी ऊंची है वो समझने से. और सिस्टम क्या, जयंती मुझे फ़ोन करे, मैं दादी को फ़ोन करूं, जो दादी का डायरेक्शन आवे उसी अनुसार. तो कहे कभी कोई गवर्नमेंट में ऐसे नहीं देखा.
Jayanti Ben was the instrument to give knowledge to them, but really they appreciated the knowledge so much. They thought it's really very elevated knowledge, but also the way that Jayanti Ben took advice from. They would put a question to Jayanti Ben would then relate the question to Dadi Janki would then relate the question to Dadi Ji in Madhuban. They'd get the response from there that then Dadi would pass back. And so Uncle was very impressed by this, that he's never ever seen such a system, even in the worldly government, whereby they take advice from one another in this way and do everything in the right way.
इतनी अच्छी स्टोरी है. अंकल ने खुद जिम्मेवारी उठा करके सेंटर स्थापन किया.
Uncle himself took on the responsibility and started the center there, the first center in Guyana.
फिर इससे वो तो हुआ, फिर अचानक आग लगी थी सेंटर को.
And then suddenly there was a fire, the fire at the center.
आंटी ने सब जेवर वेवर सब बेच के खलास करके सेंटर को नया बना दिया.
And then Auntie sold all her jewelry and renovated the center with all of that money.
ताकि कैरेबियन में हम लोगों ने जन्म लिया है, सेवाएं की है और जॉब किया है, बच्चे पैदा हुए हैं, वहाँ बाबा का यादगार का स्थान अच्छा होना चाहिए.
They felt that they have actually taken so much from the country there, from Guyana, and so they wanted to actually make a place there that other people in Guyana would be able to take benefit from, and so they wanted to keep a center, Baba's home there.
इसलिए बुला रहे हैं.
So now it's over 30 years that the center has been there, and that's why they're inviting Dadi
हमने
to
फट से हाँ
visit.
कह दिया.
So Dadi instantly said yes. There was space
Guyana
and
से
time to
ट्रिनिडाद, सुरिनाम, जमैका वहाँ से पैदा हुए हैं.
All the other Caribbean countries, they've actually taken birth after Guyana, from Guyana.
कोई बाबा के बच्चे इतने समझदारी से क्या सारा जब गवर्नमेंट में जब हाई कमिश्नर वो इंडिया में तो 6 साल रहा, वहाँ भी जब था प्रेसिडेंट के नीचे कभी भी कोई स्टीव तुम्हारी ओम शांति कहाँ गई है, कभी मीटिंग में कोई भी बात होगी ना स्टीव तेरी ओम शांति करा देगा, मीटिंग समाप्त.
So he was in India also 6 years. He had come for his term there, but then every time he was in Guyana, and every time they had a meeting there, the other people at the meeting would ask Uncle Steve, saying, Steve, where's your Om Shanti person? And so they would actually ask Dadi, they would speak to Dadi on the phone, and then Dadi would say a few words, and then the meeting would take place, and everything would work out okay. So they always remembered Dadi there.
तुमने देखा होगा चार्ली का बाप है, देखा है चार्ली के बाप को?
Have you seen Charlie's father?
कितना रिगार्ड है उसको?
He has so much regard for Dadi and because
चार्ली के चरित्र को चार्ली में चेंज दे करके हमारे लिए इतना रिगार्ड है, प्यार है, बहुत मत पूछो.
seeing the change, the transformation in Brother Charlie, he developed so much love and regard for Dadi.
चार्ली कैसा था? पहले लंदन चार्ली ज्ञान में आया है.
The first foreigner in Gyan to come into Gyan in London was Brother Charlie.
उसके सारी फैमिली को रिगार्ड है.
And his whole family has so much regard for the Brahma Kumaris now.
हमारी लुसियाना है,
Luciana in Brazil also.
उसके फादर को अति रिगार्ड है.
Her father also has so much love for Dadi.
तो स्ट्रिक्ट भी हूँ, लवली भी हूँ.
So I'm strict as well as lovely.
अगर स्ट्रिक्ट ना होती तो कोई पावर वेस्ट में मैं रह सकूं. आइए इंडिया से, कहाँ से आइए, निकल जा से.
If I wasn't so strict, then people would wonder,
कौन सी आई है?
Who's this person who's come here from the east, who's come into the west? Who does she think she is?
हाँ, मीठा भाई, मीठी बहन, मीठा भाई.
But no, giving them so much love, sweet brother, sweet sister. Yes, welcome.
सैरा देखो कितना प्यार करती है.
See how much love Sarah
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
has
से निकली है.
emerged from Australia.
आदि से तेरे से पहले की है.
She's taken birth before you.
स्ट्रिक्ट हूँ, नहीं तो ये थोड़ी सीधी होती.
If I wasn't strict, then Sarah wouldn't be as straightforward now.
तो जानकी फाउंडेशन संभाल के बैठी है, मैं तो आराम से बैठी हुई हूँ.
She has so much love, and that's why she's now looking after Janki Foundation, but thinking, yes, I'm sitting here comfortably looking after it.
क्योंकि पतित पावन बाप है ना.
It's because our Father is the purifier.
ज्ञान का सागर है ना, ज्ञान के सागर में जाओ तो शीतलता है.
He's the ocean of knowledge, and what happens when you go into the ocean?
पतित पावन है तो ऐसे
You experience the coolness.
प्यूरिफायर है.
He's the purifier, and so he does that with so much power.
जरा भी इम्प्योरिटी नहीं चाहिए उसको.
He doesn't want the slightest bit of impurity.
फायर है, प्यूरिफायर है.
He's the purifier, but the fire, the pure fire.
और ज्ञान सागर है.
And the ocean of knowledge.
में सागर के नजदीक जाओ ना तो लहरें इतनी अच्छी लगती है.
Go close to
डीप न भी जाओ, कोरिया भी तो मिली ना अच्छी, कोर अच्छे नेचुरल है ना.
Go close to the ocean and you feel the coolness there. And okay, you don't go deep into the ocean, but even just staying by the shores, the banks of the ocean, and you're able to find their shells there, and they're so good also.
एक मेरे वरदान में बाबा ने मुझे कहा है, तो साधन क्या करती हो?
In one blessing, Baba had been asking Dadi, personal blessing, what do you do all day long?
किसको सागर में नहाने नहीं आता है, डर लगता है, उनको नहाना सिखाती हो ना.
Those who don't know how to bathe in the ocean, they're afraid of drowning in there. So you teach them how to bathe in the
बाबा ने
ocean,
वरदान
don't
में
you?
बोला है.
This is Baba's
ये काम
blessing to
करती
me.
हो?
Do you do this?
मैं क्या बोलेंगी बाबा को?
So what would I tell Baba?
आपने सिखाया तो क्या करूँगी?
Yes, Baba, you've taught me, so what else can I do? Baba's taught you to bathe in the ocean and
सारा
so
दिन है सागर के गहरे में ऊपर से रहो ही सागर के साथ
just stay with the ocean and constantly with the ocean, in the ocean.
इसलिए तो वर्दिंग में गए
This is why we've got a place in Worthing.
सामने सागर दे खुश हो जाते हैं
When Daddy goes to Worthing, first thing she'll do is go for a walk by
सारे
the
वर्ल्ड में
ocean.
ऐसा सेंटर नहीं जो वर्दिंग में अभी है
So nowhere in the world do we have such a center as we do in Worthing.
क्या लगा पड़ा है
So beautiful,
दुनिया से दूर
completely far away from the
सागर
world,
से शीतल है ऑटोमेटिक
experiencing the coolness there.
देख खुश हो जाते हैं
And then seeing that, you become so happy, the cool waves of the ocean.
गहराई में जरा चले जाओ तो रत्न मिल जाते हैं
Go deep inside the ocean and you're able to find jewels.
ओके
Okay.
थैंक यू
Worthing Centre and Wilton Centre, Daddy, are sister centres. Both far away.
कैसे खांसी बंद हो गई है अभी मैं क्या करूं इतना खिटपिट किया पर मैं उसकी सुनती नहीं हूं
During meditation, Daddy was coughing a lot, but then she said, I didn't stop to listen to it. I just carried on with what I had to do. And so now it's automatically stopped.
कमाल है।
It's a wonder.
जब सोएंगी तो खांसी होगी जब उठेंगी तो खांसी बंद हो जाएंगी बात शुरू करेंगे ना खांसी बंद अरे तुम शांत कर मतलब भाई सोने तो दो नहीं सोने
When
देती
she
है
tries to go to sleep, then the cough starts and then she can't go to sleep. When she
तो
wakes
क्या
up, then
करूं?
it's a little bit quiet, but then sometimes she
तो
starts
स्ट्रिक्ट
speaking.
होती हूँ उस पर
She starts speaking and then the coughing starts
सीधी
also.
रहना होगा तो रहना होगा
So then she thinks,
सेवा में तुम चुप कर
I have to do service and so you have to remain
सेवा में
quiet. And
शांत हो
so
जाती है।
telling the coughing to stop. I have to do my work, so you
ऐसे
stop.
चलना पड़ेगा ना भाई मेरा
This is how I have to.
खांसी है ना मैं तो क्लास में नहीं आएंगी ना मुझे छोड़ दो ना
Not that well, I've got a cough and so I'm not going to come to class, just leave me
ये
alone.
प्रकृति नचा लेगी
So matter will make you dance in this way.
इसमें भी बाबा ने वरदान दिया है
So in this also Baba has given a blessing.
कैसा भी नाटक दिखावे
Doesn't matter what kind of dramas they show you, the matter.
बच्ची तो मेरी बच्ची हो ना संतान हो ना आत्मा हो ना
So Baba would say, child, you are my child, you are
मेरा
a
इसको
soul.
आर्डर है तेरे को साथ देंगी तुम ख्याल मत करना
You are my child, and so I have issued an order to the matter, that she has to behave herself, so you don't worry about it.
तो इसको आर्डर है भगवान का
So matter has been ordered by God
साथ
to
देने के
behave
लिए।
itself and to be
खिटपिट
with
नहीं कर
Daddy.
सकती
Be
शांत कर।
cooperative with Daddy and not to
भगवान
create
का
any
आर्डर है।
problems.
क्या समझा है
So what do you think? It's not a small thing that God has
प्रकृति में
ordered
भी
matter.
कई बात प्रकृति में कई बातें किसका स्वभाव होगा हवा पानी होगा फलाना होगा वायु अरे शुभ शांत कर
In matter is including all of these things, someone's nature, someone's sanskars, the atmosphere, the climate, all of these are included, but no, you just be quiet. I have to do what I have to do.
Baba the chemist.
ठीक है तो बाबा का आर्डर
Chemist.
मानेंगे हाँ?
बाबा केमिस्ट है, जैसे दवाई भी दे दी है.
अरे बाबा क्या है बताएं दवा थोड़ी देता है ऐसे कहता है मैं कुछ नहीं देता जा डॉक्टर के पास मैं डॉक्टर बाबा नहीं जाएंगे अच्छा नहीं जाएंगे चलो खांसी खाती रहो पर अचानक ऐसी दवा देता है जादू भरी दवा
So Baba is such a doctor. You go to Baba, Baba, I've got this, give me some medicine. I'm not here to give you any medicine. You go to the doctor for that. But you say, no, I'm not going to go to the doctor. So Baba says, okay, you can sit there coughing, doesn't matter. And then he'll give such medicine that suddenly everything will work. The coughing will stop and you'll be all right again.
दवा ना मत देगा पर दुआ तो इतनी देगा
So medicine that he gives will be just for namesake, but as well as the medicine, he will give lots and lots of blessings.
उसको पता है मेरा हीरो एक्टर है
Because he knows that this one is my hero actor.
तो एक बारी बाबा ने कहा था जो सेना होती है ना जनता को नहीं खिलाएंगे भले उनका ख्याल नहीं करेंगे जो सेना में मुख्य महारथी होते हैं ना कैप्टन वगैरह उनका अच्छा ख्याल करते हैं
within an army where they're actually feeding everyone, the army will not look after the public so much, the general public, but they'll take good care of the ones who are the very good soldiers, the brave ones in the army itself, because they're the ones who'll be looking after. They'll be protecting the whole country, and so they're being looked after very well.
तो बाबा का बाबा ध्यान रखेगा ज़रूर, क्योंकि हम वफादार आज्ञाकारी बच्चा होंगे तो ध्यान रखेगा.
If I am Baba's obedient, faithful child, then of course Baba will look after me.
अगर मैं आज्ञाकारी बच्चा नहीं होंगी, ट्रैक्टर बच्चा होंगी तो ध्यान रखेगा क्या? वो कहे कुछ और, हम करूँ कुछ और.
If I'm not Baba's obedient child and instead I'm a traitor, then is Baba going to look after me? What happens then is Baba will say one thing and I'll be doing something else.
ऐसे के लिए तो खतरा होता है ना.
So this is dangerous.
उनको क्या ख्याल करेगा?
So how can Baba look after me if I'm not obeying him?
जो हर समय जी हजूर जी हजूर जी हजूर उसका ध्यान रखता है.
So those who constantly saying to Baba, Ji Hazur, yes Baba, I'm ready, yes my Lord, then Baba will look after them.
इतना ध्यान रखता है जो मैं डर है बाप का, सारा ध्यान. क्या और कोई बच्चे नहीं है क्या? पर नहीं, जो ध्यान उसका रखते हैं उसके कार्य में उसका ध्यान रखेगा ज़रूर.
Baba pays so much attention to his children that sometimes you feel, well, doesn't he have anyone else to be looking after, paying attention to them? But no, if I am paying attention to him, then he is definitely going to pay attention to me also.
कई बातों में मिरेकल है.
So I've seen many miracles in this way.
अभी तो एक इटली का मिरेकल तो हुआ, उससे पक्का ही था वीज़ा नहीं मिलेंगी नहीं मिलेंगी, नहीं मिलती है, नहीं, अच्छा नहीं मिलती, ठीक है ओके, पर मैं जाना है ज़रूर, मेरे जाएंगी ज़रूर.
Just now the miracle about the visit to Italy, all the time they were saying, you're not going to get the visa, you're not getting the visa. I think since a month they've been saying that.
समझ गई है, दादी का दृढ़ संकल्प है, ट्रायल करते हैं, पर ट्रायल विश्वास से किया.
But then Dadi also feels, yes, they might be saying, I'm not getting the visa, but inside myself I have it firm that I'm definitely going to go. And so now Sister Alka has also become aware of this, and that if Dadi has a determined thought, then it will work. And so yes, she also had that faith and determination, and so it happened.
बुला के काल अच्छा आ जाओ देखें कैसी लेडी है.
So they wanted to see Dadi and see her face before they'd give the visa, so Dadi had to go to the embassy first.
और टोली खा के खुश हो गए.
So Dadi went there, gave them toli, made them happy, and got the visa.
6 महीने के लिए यूरोप की वीज़ा मिल गई.
So she got the visa for 3 months.
ऐसे एक बारी एयरपोर्ट पर घर गई
6 months.
वीज़ा थी दूसरे दिन की, लेकिन जाना था एक दिन पहले. अलका चली साथ में, अब वो मैं बैठ गई ऐसे, वो देवी नहीं, कहते वीज़ा तो कल की है. मैंने कहा ये मिस्टेक हो गई है शायद. मैं बैठ गई, सर वो लेडी देखती रहे, ये बैठी है बैठी है.
Germany, I think.
प्लेन का टाइम भी हो गया, जल्दी जल्दी व्हीलचेयर मंगाई, रवाना कर दिया.
Another visit that Dadi was to be making, and somehow the dates had been wrong, and so the visa was the next day and the ticket was the day before, flying ticket. Again, it was Italy, so must be some karma with Italy. So that they were saying that your visa doesn't start until the next day, so you can't go. And so Dadi is saying, well, what to do? So I'm just going to sit here. So she just sat there, but then kept on trying to communicate with their office and everything. And finally they said, yes, you can go. Dweena was actually helping them.
2 शब्द थे ना, तीव्र पुरुषार्थी, पर मैं ऐड कर दूं सच्चा पुरुषार्थी, दृढ़ संकल्प वाला पुरुषार्थी. असंभव बात संभव हुई परी है, हुई है हुई परी है.
If you're an easy effort maker, but together with that an honest effort maker and determined effort maker, then I feel that everything is already accomplished. You don't need to do anything. The success is already guaranteed.
पर और बात हंसी की बात सुनाऊं. बाबा ये कैसे है? बच्ची गुरु जाने, गुरु की गोथरी जाने.
Sometimes
सब तो गुरु जाने, गुरु की अभी तो समझो ना, गुरु है तो गोथरी को जो गुरु लगा हुआ है वही तो देखो ना कैसा है.
So sometimes you'd tell Baba about other children, Baba, what's this one like? And Baba would say, well, the molasses know and the container of the molasses knows. So you can tell from the container itself because it gets stuck to it, but the two of them know, but no one else would know anything about them.
भगवान ऐसा होशियार है, कहेंगे बाबा आपने, अरे बच्ची ड्रामा में था, ड्रामा में कैसे बाबा आपने तो कराया, नहीं नहीं बच्ची ड्रामा में था, किया आपने ड्रामा में था, इतना ऐसा निरंकारी है, वंडरफुल है.
Baba's really so egoless that when something happens and you say to Baba, Baba, you made this happen, and you're giving thanks to Baba in that way, then Baba would say, but child, I didn't do anything, it was meant to happen in the drama. And then you say, but Baba, it happened in the drama because you made it happen. And he said, no, I didn't make it happen, it was just meant to be. And so he doesn't accept the credit of anything that he does, even though he does everything.
बाबा की बातें बहुत है, अभी तुम तीसरा क्वेश्चन पूछो.
There's many stories of Baba, but you can ask the next question.
इसमें और भी बातें हैं, पर अभी क्वेश्चन तीसरा पूछो.
There are more things that Dadi could share about this, but she wants the next question.
Okay. Actually, Daddy, you know, Italy is a very old country, and it was always very close to India, and it always loved Indian food. And actually the real name of Italy is Italy. So Daddy, changing gear a bit, we all love stories and would like to know what happened in the early days of the Yagya, when I think you all knew you were souls, but you also thought Baba was God. So what kind of, in those early years, what was your meditation? Like what was the meditation in those days? And what was the I don't know, I suppose the foundation of your spiritual life? I know it was love of Baba, but can you tell us a bit more about that? Because part of the reason is because I think among the Westerners, some of us have a real intellectual relationship with God somehow, but I notice with the daddies, it's so heart, you know, it is so almost unexplainable sometimes. And your relationship with God seems to be so incredibly deep and incredibly warm and incredibly constant. And I wonder if we're really tapping into that love of God.
ये बड़ा ध्यान से सुन रहा है, अच्छा ना.
Arnold's listening with lots of attention.
अच्छा ये शब्द नहीं कहो, वेस्टर्न बुद्धिमान है, उनको टाइम लगा है, असुन नहीं.
Daddy wouldn't like you to use the words that Westerners are intellectual and so they've taken time to understand things.
आपको टाइम नहीं लगा.
You didn't take that much time.
No.
तो फिर ये नहीं कहो वेस्टर्न.
So then not to say that Westerners are intellectual and so they don't understand that quickly.
मैं बताती हूँ.
But yes, I'll let you share.
Very general term. And I do, although I understood quickly, Daddy, I also include myself in thinking that maybe I'm missing out on a secret here. So
वेस्टर्न उसको कहते जो वेस्ट थॉट्स बहुत चलाते हैं.
A new definition of Westerners.
What, Westerners?
Westerners are those who have lots of waste thoughts.
जो असली भारतवासी है, असली जो है ना, वो संकल्प नहीं चलाते हैं.
Should we go to the next question?
ईस्ट में रहे या वेस्ट में रहे, पर जो वेस्ट ख्याल चलाने वाले हैं वो वेस्ट के हैं.
The true residents of Bharat don't have any waste thoughts. They don't use their intellect in that way, so they're able to remain still.
आज मोरन ने वहाँ कहा रियलाइजेशन और ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन लिखो. मैंने चिट्ठियाँ बहुत करके पढ़ी. बहुतों का है वेस्ट ख्याल बंद होना चाहिए मेरा.
Sister Maureen had asked the people at GRC to write about their realization and transformation, and then Dadi read the notes that many of them had given, And Dadi said there's so many of them who are saying that really I feel that my waste thoughts should now come to an end.
मेजॉरिटी
They should stop.
अपने लिए तो चलाती है पर औरों के लिए भी चला करके वेस्ट बॉक्स अच्छा बन रख देते हैं.
So the majority of the people that were there, they have waste thoughts about themselves, but also waste thoughts about others. And it says that they've got a waste box that's kept by themselves of the waste things about others that they keep on putting in there.
जो दादियों से जो भेंट करते हो ना, दादियों जैसे ऐसे है ऐसी अच्छी आत्माएं हैं.
When you're comparing and saying that, yes, we would like to have the same experience as Dadis did, then yes, there are certain souls who do have that experience.
विश्व के हर कोने से ऐसी आत्माएं चुन चुन के निकली है.
From every corner of the world, such souls have emerged. They've been selected in a way.
जिसकी बाबा अभी तक भी बैठ के माला बनाता है, माला बनी नहीं है.
And even today, like Baba is still trying to find the beads to create the rosary, but the rosary hasn't yet
बाबा
been
इंतजार
created.
कर रहा है. हम भी समझते हैं सारी जगह के हिस्ट्री के अंदर कहीं अभी ऐसे जल्दी जंप लगा के इतना अच्छा परिवर्तन ला करके जैसे अभी माला में परो सकते हैं.
So Baba is trying to create the rosary, but it's not happening. And yes, we can understand because even now there are so many souls coming, and such souls coming that they've taken a real high jump, and they're able to come so close, bringing about so much transformation within themselves that we feel that yes, they could also be part of the rosary.
यज्ञ की हिस्ट्री के अंदर शुरू में जो अभी तो समझो हमने दादियों का सब फोटो देखा ना, बाकी थोड़ी बच्चे हैं, बाकी सब तो शरीर छोड़ के चले गए, कोई तो बाबा को छोड़ के चले गए.
We look around at the pictures of the early days of all the dadis, then out of that we feel that there's just a,
कोई बाबा को भी छोड़ के चले
a
गए.
handful left. Many have left their body, but
जिंदा होते.
some have even left Baba whilst they were alive. They left Baba, went away. So there's only
और
a
कोई तो
handful left.
शरीर भी छोड़ा तो ऐसे छोड़ा.
And those
तो
who
एक बारी
actually
मैंने
left their body, they also left it in Baba's remembrance.
कभी कभी बहुत टाइम थोड़ा मिलता पर गहरी गहरी रूहान कभी दादियों की चलती है.
So we don't often get that time, but
पहले
now
चलती,
and
अभी
then
वो भी टाइम नहीं है.
used to happen, but we don't have time for that even now. But we used to have deep conversations amongst ourselves, the dadis.
एक बहन का ऑक्सफोर्ड में अभी GRC में मिसाल सुनाया था.
So Dadi had related the experience of one of the sisters in GRC.
जिसने मम्मा को भी ज्ञान दिया था.
So a sister who had given knowledge to Mama,
नंबर 1 थी.
she was number 1.
मेरे को भी अमृत पीना है, पिलाना है, ये मेरे को उस राह पर चलने के लिए प्रेरणा दी.
She was the one who inspired me to follow this path, and with that awareness that we constantly have to be drinking the nectar of knowledge and giving that to others also.
आत्म अभिमानी स्थिति में रहने के लिए बहुत अच्छी तरह से एक तो से मदद मिली.
So we used to help one another to maintain that stage of soul consciousness.
कुछ समय के बाद उसकी जो चमत्कारी बुद्धि, उसका जो धारणा, उनका जो व्यवहार बदल गया.
But after some time, it's like her sparkling intellect, her interaction with everyone, all of that completely changed.
मेरी जैसे बहुत प्यारी सखी, गुरु समान थी.
She was a very close friend, almost like a guru for me.
क्या हुआ है तुमको, क्या हुआ है?
And I was asking her, what's happened to you? But
सिर्फ मम्मा को आगे बढ़ता हुआ देख सहन नहीं कर सकी.
the only thing that happened was she wasn't able to bear Mama moving forward.
जिसको मैंने ज्ञान दिया वो आगे चली गई.
She was thinking, Mama's the one that I've given knowledge to, and yet Mama's going ahead of me. So she
बाबा भी
couldn't
उसको
bear
रिगार्ड
this.
दे रहा है.
So Baba's giving regard to Mama,
सूक्ष्म जेलसी.
and so there was subtle jealousy in this.
पाँव टिकने नहीं दिया.
This didn't allow her to stay with Baba.
मेरे को बहुत जिसने मेरे को इतना अच्छा उठाया, बहुत मैंने कहा बहन तुम बस मैं समझ गई, मेरा पार्ट फिनिश हो गया.
So she was the one who had uplifted Dadi, and so Dadi was feeling a lot of mercy for her and trying to make her understand. But she said, well, I've now understood and I feel my part is now finished.
बाबा ऐसे बच्ची बस बाबा कहे कैसे, पर उनसे गलत काम होने लगे.
And so Baba also couldn't really say anything, but he was just remaining detached. But the sister then, because of this
का यज्ञ में
subtle
रह करके
jealousy,
मैं गलत काम करूं?
she started doing wrong actions.
बड़ी रॉयल थी,
Otherwise, she was a very royal
अति
soul,
भक्तन थी.
a great devotee also.
माया ऐसी है.
So this is what Maya is like.
आखिर बैर गई
So this took
माँ
her
के
away
पास.
to her mother.
उसके माँ को बाबा के लिए बहुत रिगार्ड था.
Her mother also had a lot of regard for Baba.
माँ ने बड़ी प्यार से रखा. शादी बादी नहीं किया.
And she didn't get married, so she wasn't attracted to other people in that way.
परंतु ये सहन नहीं हुआ. मम्मा को मेरे से आगे चली गई.
Wasn't able to bear Mama seeing Mama going ahead of her.
ऐसे बहुत मिसाल हुए.
So there are many such examples also.
हमारी लौकिक 4 बहनें चली गई
4 Lokik sisters of mine also left Baba in this
जिनको
way.
बाबा मामा ने पाला.
Mama and Baba had sustained them, and yet they left.
छोटी 1.5 साल की उम्र की थी,
The youngest one only a year and a half old.
जिसको पता भी नहीं माँ क्या चीज होती है.
She wasn't even aware of who her mother is because she had got everything from Baba, and yet she left.
12-13 बरस में कहती है कि मुझे पर माँ तो चली गई लौकिक मोहवश.
The mother had left Baba. Initially, she was the one who went
सारी स्टोरी सुना देती हूँ.
because of attachment.
बाप ने सारी यज्ञ में छोड़ा.
My father left his body in the yagya.
बड़ा बाप यज्ञ से प्यार था.
He had a lot of love for the yagya.
क्यों जवारी था ना, तो सारी बाबा की कारोबार यज्ञ की वो संभालता था.
He was also a jeweler, and he used to look after all Baba's business of the jewelry.
और हमारे लिए भी चिंता थी ये यज्ञ की. वो स्टोरी लंबी चौड़ी है, वो नहीं सुनाती हूँ.
So another long, complicated story, which I won't go into,
जबरदस्ती शादी कराई थी मेरी.
about getting Dadi married by force.
मैंने कहा मैं नहीं करेंगी.
She was saying, I'm not going to get married.
कहा दुनिया क्या करेंगी कहेंगी.
Then her father was saying, what's the world going to say?
तो मैंने कहा शादी का घर ही है. कहा तो रोती क्यों हो.
So
मैंने कहा तुम मेरा बाप है तो उसको बारात को वापस करो.
it was the moment of marriage, and I think they had come there already, and so she's saying she doesn't want to get married, and she's saying, if you are my father, if you're truly my father, then tell the procession to go away. So from that time, he started sulking with her.
तो मेरा बाप नहीं है.
But Dadi said, you're not my father.
पर मैं जानू बाबा जाने.
But she broke her relationship with Baba, saying that it's me and
मुझे
Baba who
लगन थी
knows.
बाबा का बनने की.
But the deep desire to just belong to
पर
Baba,
उसको बहुत दुख हुआ.
and he felt a lot of sorrow because of
सारा
that.
धन चला गया.
He lost all his wealth.
मेरे को रवाना किया, धन भी चला गया.
He let go of me, but he also, all his wealth
पर बच्चे
disappeared.
सब बच्चे खुद बाबा के बन गए.
And all the children then came to belong to Baba.
सब बाबा के बन गए और मैं फंस गई.
And Dadi was then married off. She was
मुझे
trapped.
फंसा दिया. पर मैं तुम चुप करो, तुम अपना बाबा के पास सुखी रहो. मैं अपने आप ही बाबा के पास आएंगी. तुम वहाँ बैठे पर याद क्यों करता है. बाबा के पास सुखी बहुत हो गया ना.
So the father was actually with Baba, and Dadi was married, but still he was remembering. And she's saying, well, while you're sitting there, why are you worried about me?
बच्चे भी
You
खुश
stay
हो
with
गए
Baba,
ना.
and you remain happy with Baba. The children,
माँ भी खुश
others,
हो गई ना.
the other children and the mother,
तो
they
मेरी
were
चिंता क्यों
also with
करता है.
Baba, but they were still concerned about Dadi.
मैं जानू मेरा कर्म जाने.
She says, I understand my
ऐसे
actions.
कर्म बंधन
Understand.
ऐसे
And so there was karmic bondage, but then she was able to cut it
योग बल से
with the
टूट
power
गए,
of
छूट
yoga.
गई.
She broke the karmic bondage with the power of yoga and became
ऐसे
free.
कर्म बंधन करे हो गए.
There was such severe
क्या
karmic
और सब छूटी,
bondages.
इनको छूटने नहीं देंगे. खूब मारे खाई.
So Dadi had experienced a lot of
खूब
beating
मारे
also.
खाई. वो गीता पढ़ती थी. थप्पड़ ऐसा जो मैं कंघी नहीं लगा सकूं, खून बहता रहे.
She used to study the Gita by herself, even in her life there where she was with her in-laws. But they used to beat her so much on the head even that sometimes they used to be
उन दिनों में
bleeding.
कई है पवित्रता के कारण भाग के आ गई थी.
So many had actually run away because of purity also.
हमारे ऊपर पैरा था.
But
इसको
everyone
भागने नहीं
was
देंगे.
keeping a watch on Dadi, and there was guards all around, not allowing her to get out of the house.
तो दीदी थी ना, दीदी मुझे नाली से मुरली भेजती थी.
So Didi used to send Dadi the murli through
नाली
the
से.
pipes.
मैं बाथरूम में पढ़ती थी,
So she used to study the Murli secretly in the bathroom.
छिपके छिपके। इतनी बड़ी अच्छी स्टोरी थी,
It was a beautiful story
बाबा ने कैसे खींच लिया।
of how Baba pulled me.
फिर वहाँ पहुँची, फिर भी बाप का मोह,
And then I came to Baba, but even then the father's attachment was still there.
सीधी बात, थोड़ा जो मेरा जब पे हक लगता था लेके आई,
Whatever was Dadi's rightfully, she brought that with her.
जिस पर नहीं मैं छोड़ दिया।
And whatever was not hers, she just left that behind.
इतना बड़ा कबट कपड़ों का फलाने, मैंने कहा ये वैश्यों के कपड़े, वैश्यों के जेवर मुझे नहीं पहनने हैं।
Huge big cupboards of clothes, colorful clothes, but Dadi said these
डाउरी
are
के
all-
कपड़े चेक असर हाथ नहीं लगाया, पाया पहना नहीं।
So Dadi said, these are not clothes for me, these are clothes of the
मैं नहीं पहनेंगी।
other women, and I'm not going to wear any of this.
बहाना बनाया, लौकिक सास का प्यार था बहुत,
So
तो मैंने उसे सरी छोड़ा, तो मैंने कहा मुझे दुख है उसका बहुत, इसलिए वाइट कपड़ा पहनेंगी।
her mother-in-law left the body, and so Dadi took that as an excuse, saying that I feel a lot of sorrow about my mother-in-law having died, so I'm not going to wear the colored clothes anymore. I'm just going to stay in white clothes.
वो मुझे बड़ा प्यार करती थी, तो ये न जावे और वो सब गई, ये न जावे। इतना सोना था उसके पास, बेटा तेरे लिए सब सोना, सब कुछ तेरे लिए है, जैसे मैं उसके पास बैठी रहूं।
The mother-in-law had a lot of love for Dadi, and she didn't want Dadi to leave her at all, and so she would tell her son,
मैं क्या करेंगी?
Dadi's husband, that son, all of this is for you, and it's for you and your wife, and you don't worry about anything else, just stay here. And she wanted to keep Dadi, thinking that all of this jewelry and the gold will keep Dadi there.
पर हिस्ट्री लंबी चौड़ी है, पर कराची में भाग के आई।
But Dadi then left them, ran away from
आधी
there,
रात
and
को
came to Karachi at
12
midnight.
बजे एक स्टेशन दूसरी स्टेशन पर रुकी, जब मुझे स्टेशन पर पकड़ने कोई आ
So
जावे।
Dadi actually went from one station to another, not getting on the train at the first station because she was
लिखा
aware
मैं मर गई।
that find her, and so she had then left a note saying
चांस
that
देखा घर में कोई नहीं है, निकल
think
गई।
that I've died now, and so then she said I just took that opportunity and left
फिर वहाँ आई तो फिर
everyone.
बाप मोह दिखावे,
And when I went to Baba, then he was showing his attachment to me.
और बाबा ने कहा
Her
तो
father was showing the
तुमको
attachment.
उनके पास रहना है। मैंने कहा मैं आई हूँ,
But Baba said to her, you
बहुत
have to
टेस्ट किया,
stay
बहुत
with
टेस्ट
them.
किया,
And she said, but Baba, I've come to you, and Baba's testing me in this way.
बहुत टेस्ट है। यज्ञ सेवा करूँ, मुझे नाश्ता नहीं देते थे, यहाँ बैठ न जावे।
So, and then when Dadi this was whilst he was still at home, she would go to help do service of the
मानती
yagya,
थी।
and they wouldn't give her breakfast there.
सुबह को आकर के मुरली सुन के दिन भर में यज्ञ सेवा करती थी, यज्ञ से लेके जाती, कपड़ा ले सिलाई करके पापड़ बेलने के लिए, वहाँ उनके लिए कर्म बंधन हो जाए, उनके लिए काम नहीं करेंगे, खाना बनाएंगे,
So while
पर माँ बाप के घर में उनके कर्म नहीं करेंगे।
while still living at the home with the family, with her parents, she didn't want to do
सेवा
any
यज्ञ की
work,
करेंगे।
Lokik work, so she would go to the center, listen to the
फिर
Murli,
शाम को आती
and
थी
come
अच्छी,
back. She would come back with some work of the yagya that she would do at home, so rolling the papadums or doing some sewing or things like that, which she could bring back away at home, so that she wouldn't be doing work of the Lokiks and creating further karmic bondages in this way.
तो शाम को मैं जब आती थी तो सारे दिन में जो अच्छा ज्ञान लगता था ना, तो माताएं बातें होती, तो मम्मा की तरफ से एक टीचर आती थी उनको क्लास कराने के लिए 6 माइल दूर।
So the mothers, they would finish all the housework and everything, and in the evening they'd be free. So one sister would be coming about 6 miles away to give knowledge to the mothers at home.
फिर बाबा मामा को मेरी रिपोर्ट मिली, ये शाम को इतना अच्छा बताती है, इतना अच्छा, वहाँ से टीचर ना आवे ये क्लास करा सकती है।
And then Mama and Baba received a report from someone that Dadi actually can also do such wonderful class there. It's not necessary to send someone else from there to go and attend to these mothers, but Dadi herself can give class to them.
मेरे को यही धुन लगी हुई थी, तो 1.5 साल ये मेरे से पहले आए है, कुमार का फलानी टीचर सब, इसको मैं पहले कैसे जाऊँ?
So Dadi's real worry was that all of these other people, they've come a year and a half before
Make
me,
last
and
friends.
I've come after them. So how can I make up and all that
मामा को
lost
जानती
time?
थी, वो इतनी होशियार हो गई
I
है।
used to know Mama before also, and I was seeing that Mama has become so clever now.
पर लौकिक बाप कहता है जेवर जो है ना यहाँ रख दो, यज्ञ को देना नहीं,
And
भविष्य का ख्याल करना चाहिए.
her Lokik father is telling her, all the jewelry that you have, you keep it with you. You don't give it to the
उसको पता
yagya
था.
because you don't know what's going to happen. So you should keep it for yourself, not
मैंने
give it
रोया
away.
जाकर बाबा मुझे क्यों इसके पास रखा है, मैं
And then she went
मुझे
to Baba
कैसे रह
and
देता है?
cried. And she said, Baba, why are you telling me to stay with him? Look at the advice that he's giving me. He's telling her to just hold on to the things that she's got.
फिर भी बाबा माने नहीं, देखे कहाँ तक इसकी रगड़ टूटती है.
Even then, Baba wouldn't listen to Dadi, and he was testing to see to what
बहुत
extent
परीक्षा ली,
Dadi
बहुत
still
परीक्षा
has
ली.
that attachment or if she's able to break it.
फिर थोड़े समय के बाद, 2 साल के बाद, शांतामणि की जो भाभी थी जसू, बड़ी बहादुर थी, सब वो सब बैंक वो संभालती थी. वो बाबा ने कहा पूछो जाओ, आई पूछने के लिए, वो जो तुम्हारा रखा है सफला करें. इतना रोया क्या मैं नालायक हूँ क्या, मेरे से पूछा क्यों जाता है. इतना रोया क्यों, कईयों ने वापस मांगा.
Sometime later, then Baba sent Shantamani Dadi's sister-in-law to visit Dadi and to ask her about the jewelry. And she's saying, Baba's asking, should we use that in a worthwhile way? Should we give it over? And so Dadi's saying, and she's really crying, thinking, why are they asking me? She's thinking, they shouldn't be asking me in this way. She's saying, am I that unworthy that you're asking me whether we should use it? Because some people were thinking that, yes, we should keep it for our time of need, that sometimes we would need it.
तो वेस्टर्न जो होते हैं ना, सिक्योरिटी के लिए रखा रहे. सच्चे जो होते हैं वो कहते हैं मैं क्या करेंगी.
So that is saying that some people want to keep it aside. So she's saying Westerners also keep it aside for security. But I was thinking, what am I going to do with this?
अचानक बाप को पेट में appendix का ऑपरेशन कराना पड़ा.
But suddenly her father had to have an appendix operation.
तो माँ हॉस्पिटल में गई.
And so the mother went to the hospital.
मेरे को बुलाया तो तुम आओ, शायद बचेगा नहीं.
And then Dadi was told to go and visit because perhaps he's not going to stay alive now.
मैं नहीं गई.
She didn't go.
मैंने कहा अंत में मैं सामने होंगी, शरीर छूटेगा, उसका क्या हाल होगा.
And Dadi was thinking at the end, if I am in front of him and he's looking at me, then what's going to be his condition then? Means he wouldn't be remembering God, he'd be seeing me there.
तो माँ ने समझा ये आई नहीं बाप के मरने पर.
And the mother was really taken aback, thinking that she didn't come even when her father's dying.
मैंने कहा उसने तो मेरा कर्म बंधन तोड़ दिया ना, मैं कहे का.
And so she said, well, he already broke my karmic bondage with him, so he's no longer my father anyway.
तो सारे बच्चों से सब तो उसको बुलावाया काके का, तुम आओ हम तुमको संभालेंगे.
So all the children, they were told that they would be looked after by the other uncles and other members of the family.
तो कराची चली गई, हैदराबाद चली गई.
So one of the sisters, the mother, I think she went back.
थोड़े समय में बुलाया, एक ही बेटा था उसको. मैं उसको कहती, उसको एक ही बेटा था. माँ को एक ही बेटा.
आपका भाई ना? She's referring to her brother as that one. She's saying, I don't have any feeling, and so I'm saying he's that one.
उसको बाबा ने बहुत प्यार से पाला.
So he was actually called back by his uncle.
अपने बंगले में रखा था.
Baba had given him a lot of love, keeping him in his bungalow.
जो 4 कुमारियाँ थी, उसको बड़ा अच्छी प्यार से पाला.
Baba also had given so much love to the 4 sisters.
तो पहले आई तो बच्चों से मिलने आई हूँ.
The mother came back and she's saying, I've come to meet my
2-3 साल
children.
के बाद, 4-5 साल.
Maybe 4-5 years later, she had already gone back, and then she came back saying, I've come to visit the children.
तो मैं खड़ी थी, सब बच्चों से मिली.
So I was also there, and my mother met everyone.
बच्चों को थोड़ा प्यार किया.
She gave us love.
तो थोड़ा मोह आया उन्हों को.
And yes, they felt a little bit attachment, and they were pulled.
पर तो और तो कोई किसको बेटे को पीछे के दरवाजे लेके चली गई.
So she wasn't able to take any of the sisters with her, the daughters, but she took her son
बेटे
from
को
the
इतना
back
माँ
door
के लिए मोह पैदा हो गया.
because Dadi's brother then had attachment for the mother, and so he left
बाबा
with
ने
her
कहा
from the back door.
बंदरी आई लेके चली गई.
So Baba saying, the monkey came and went away with the child because the attachment took the son away.
मुझे कहा तुम फेल हो गई.
And he's saying to Dadi, you failed.
मैंने कहा बाबा मुझे पता भी नहीं चला, उसको पीछे के दरवाजे चली गई.
And she's saying, well, I wasn't even aware that she would take my brother from the back door.
औरों को वो खींच लिया.
And so even the other sisters were pulled by the mother's attachment.
पर उनके बाद भी कराची में सब थी. लक्ष्मण पहले गई है.
So one sister went first.
वो फिर क्यों गई? संशय आया, बाबा फलाने को सिखाया ये क्यों देता है?
Why did she leave? She had the doubt that why is Baba giving this particular teaching to so and so?
जो मेरे से होशियार थी ज्ञान देने में.
So this sister was even cleverer than Dadi in giving
बहुत
knowledge.
होशियार थी.
She was very clever in giving knowledge to others.
तो क्या था, इतनी अच्छी, बाबा सभा में ऐसे मूली चला देता है.
So she was so good and clever in this way, and yet she's thinking, well, Baba speaking this kind of murli in the gathering means Baba was saying
बाबा
something.
बाबा कहने वाली.
One who was saying Baba, Baba with so much
अति
love,
निश्चय बुद्धि.
such faith in the intellect.
संशय आया.
But yet she had doubt. Why is Baba saying this?
तो जिसको औरों को संशय आया.
So then from that others also developed
इसकी
doubts.
तो माँ बॉम्बे में थी.
किसकी?
लक्ष्मणा की माँ तो बॉम्बे में थी. मेरी लौकिक बहन की वो तो माँ में.
Her mother was in Bombay.
तो औरों को जो संशय आया यार वो बॉम्बे कैसे जावे?
And so
औरों को जो संशय वो बॉम्बे कैसे जावे?
So one mother had already gone and she had taken one daughter with her, but the others then had doubts also. So how can they go to Bombay?
तो 12-13 की
So then there was
टोली तैयार, संशय बुद्धि वाली टोली तैयार हो गई.
there was a whole group that was formed of those. This is in the Yagya group was formed of those who have doubts in the intellect. So a whole team got together like this.
तो ऐसा आपस में संशय, भाई सोचना चाहिए पाकिस्तान होगा पर कहाँ जाएंगे, जवानी का है, लाइफ तो अब सोचना चाहिए.
And they're thinking, well, this is the time of the partition and we don't know what's going to happen. We're still young. We still have to think about our
बाबा तो
lives.
किसको प्यार करता है, किसको तो प्यार ऐसी शिक्षा देता है, मैं नहीं सहन कर
And then they
सकती
say Baba gives love to someone, and then Baba gives teachings to others, and so it's like Baba's not being equal
फिर
to
बाबा ने मेरे को
everyone.
कहा, तो मेरे से छोटी थी, 2 साल छोटी थी, वो तो बड़ी अच्छी टीचर थी.
So our sister who was 2 years younger than Dadi, she was a very good teacher.
बाबा ने कहा बच्ची को थोड़ा समझाओ.
So Baba's told Dadi to go and explain to her because she's got doubts now.
जैसे मैंने बुला के थोड़ा समझाने शुरू किया.
So I called her and I started explaining to her.
वो जो उसकी शक्ल में चमक थी वो तो खत्म हो गई थी.
The sparkle that she had on her face was completely gone.
जो ज्ञान सुनाने में योग लगा, बड़ी फर्स्ट क्लास थी.
She used to be
वो
first
सारा
class.
मुंह पीला हो गया.
First class in giving knowledge, in having yoga, but now her face
जो
was
सारा दिन
completely
मैं सबको
pale.
कहती हूँ तुम्हारा मुंह पीला क्यों होता है, मुंह छोटा क्यों होता है, क्यों अंदर जो ज्ञान का अच्छा नहीं है ना, मुंह छोटा हो जाता है, ऐसे हो जाता है, डर लगता है मेरे को मुंह छोटा
So
देख.
all day long also that is seeing people and saying, why does your face look so pale? It's because inside there isn't that knowledge, the power of it, it's not there, and so the sparkle is not visible on the face.
फिर क्या था, तो उसने सारा, मैंने कहा लक्ष्मणा तुमको क्या हुआ, तुम इतनी अच्छी, शांत कर, तुम अपना बुद्धि का ख्याल कर, अभी जीवन खत्म करनी हो तो बैठ, मैं तो जाएंगी.
That is telling her, Lakshmana, what's happened to you? You're so good and everything. And she goes, keep quiet. I don't want to hear anything. And she says, you should also be thinking about yourself. I don't want to hear anything else. But she wouldn't listen to Dadi.
तो मैंने कहा बाबा वो तो मेरे कोई ऐसे लगा, मैं बात अभी नहीं करेंगे कभी.
So then Dadi went to Baba saying that, Baba, she's not even listening to
मैंने
me.
कहा बाबा क्या हुआ, 25 संशय का कीड़ा लगा, पायजन है, सारा चला गया.
So then Dadi is asking Baba, what happened? Why did this happen? And so Baba saying that, child, it's like there was the insect of doubt that came along, and this poisoned everything. So that's why all the knowledge flew away. There wasn't anything left in the soul.
संशय बुद्धि विनशंति, सारा ज्ञान विनाश हो गया.
So what Baba
प्राप्ति भी
says,
सारी विनाश हो गई.
what Baba says about doubts leading to destruction, it says that everything that was accumulated in the soul, whatever he had attained, all of that was lost also.
जब गए ना देवा टप के गए,
So when they went,
सीधी गेट से नहीं गए.
when they left, they didn't even go straight through the door, but they actually kind of ran away, climbing over the wall.
ये है माया.
So this is what Maya does,
संग का रंग.
the influence of the company.
ऐसी जो तभी बाबा ने हमेशा तब से आपस में बू बू बात करने का मतलब क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
So Baba is saying, what's the purpose of sitting and talking amongst yourselves? What are you talking about? It should only be knowledge, nothing else.
ज्ञान की बात तो खुली दिल से करते हैं, बू ऐसे बात करने का मतलब
When it comes to speaking knowledge, then they do it openly. But when it's talking about other things, then it's talking about it secretly and in private.
अभी मूल्यों में ये बातें नहीं है। बाबा कहते हैं धूतिया ये घर पेटाने वाली, भगवान के घर से भगाने वाली।
Baba doesn't use that term so much now in the Murlis, but often Baba would say that the troublemakers come. She's the one who's breaking up homes by just getting involved with such
माया
stories.
ऐसी कैसे की बुद्धि खराब कर देती है।
Just see how Maya totally ruins someone's intellect, even the good ones.
इसलिए संभाल के रहो।
This is why we
अभी
all
मैं
have
यही
to be
धंधा करती हूँ
cautious.
सारा दिन, किसके माया आया तो
This is what I
फलाने से
do
बात
all day
करते हैं।
long. Someone gets Maya, and so I really
अमृत
become
वेले नहीं
strict with
आता
them.
है, आंख पे दिखाती हूँ।
Someone doesn't come for Amrit Vela, I show them a stern eye.
फालतू बात कहाँ करता है?
If
मेरे से डरते भी है, परंतु फालतू फिर झूठ बोलते भी है, फालतू करते भी है।
some are afraid of me, but yet they're still engaging themselves in wrong actions, telling lies or
क्या करूं?
gossiping. But what can I do?
निर्विघ्न स्थिति रहे।
So the stage has to be completely free from
हमारी
obstacles. My
पर्सनल
stage. Personally for
एक है
myself.
विघ्न, दूसरे ग्रहचारी।
So one is the obstacle and the other is the omens, the bad omens.
अगर विघ्न आया ना, एक में दूसरा, दूसरे में तीसरा आएगा।
When obstacles come, then they come one after another after another.
इसलिए निर्विघ्न स्थिति बनाने के लिए एक भगवान का सहारा पकड़ के अपने को तो निर्विघ्न बनाना है, पर यज्ञ में कोई विघ्न ना आवे, इसलिए विघ्न विनाशक बनना है।
So first of all, I have to take support of God and make myself free from obstacles, and then also become so free from obstacles that I make sure there's no obstacles in the yajna also, and be the protector for the yajna.
एक है विघ्न डालने वाले,
One are those who create obstacles.
दूसरे विघ्नों से घबराने वाले,
Second are those who are afraid of the obstacles.
तीसरे विघ्न विनाशक।
And the
विघ्न
third-
विनाशक कौन है, कितने हैं?
Third are the destroyer of obstacles. So how many are destroyers of obstacles?
अभी हर एक पूछे में who am I?
So each one to ask themselves, which category am I in?
बहुत अंदर से पावरफुल निश्चय की ऐसी अंदर से हो जो विघ्न रूप न बनूं, पर विघ्न से घबराऊं नहीं, पर इतनी काली रूप रहूं जो विघ्न खत्म हो जावे।
So let me remain so strict, so firm with myself that when obstacles come, I'm able to overcome them. I'm able to chase away the obstacles,
शब्दी
but remain
शास्त्रों में भी
kali,
है।
that the obstacles don't have the
आसुरी
courage to come.
संप्रदाय वाले विघ्न डाल, जिसमें आसुरी गुण होता है ना, वो विघ्न डालते हैं।
This is mentioned in the scriptures that those who have devilish qualities, they're the ones who are going to create obstacles to the yajna.
असुर और देवताओं की लड़ाई लगी, माना देवता बनने में असुर जो है ना, ब्राह्मणों को विघ्न डालते हैं,
They speak
पूरा
about
सच्चा ब्राह्मण बनने नहीं देते हैं।
They speak about the war between the devils and the deities, and it's the deities who are Brahmins who are making effort to become deities. So the devils are creating obstacles and not allowing the Brahmins to become deities.
शांति से, प्रेम से, यज्ञ माता पिता के रक्षा से अपन को चलो, यज्ञ की सेवा करो, सबको अच्छी तरह से।
With love, with peace, patient, just look after yourself, look after the yajna, and just having that relationship with the mother and father, being their child.
दूसरी बैठती ग्रहचारी,
And then the second one is the obstacles. Then this is the devilish qualities that bring the obstacles, and the other is the bad omens.
एक होती है ग्रहचारी, दूसरी होती है विस्पत की दशा।
And then there's also the
विस्पत
omens
की
of
दशा में तन मन धन संबंध सब अच्छा होगा।
the omens of Jupiter, and when you have the omens of Jupiter over yourself, then you find that everything moves along very well, whether it's body, mind,
उसमें
wealth,
गुरु कृपा
relationships.
चाहिए।
But for this, you need the grace of the Guru.
सीमत पर चले अच्छी तरह से।
But when you're following Srimad, you have to do that accurately, very well.
जो जरा मन मत पर मत पर चलता है, उसको ग्रहचारी ऐसी बैठती है, जो कुछ करता है सफल नहीं होगा।
Those who follow in the dictates of the self or of others, they experience such bad omens
नहीं
that
होगा।
whatever they do, they're not able to do that successfully.
न तन अच्छा, न मन अच्छा, न धन अच्छा, न संबंध अच्छा।
Then nothing is good, neither the body, the mind, their wealth, their relationships, nothing works well.
ग्रहचारी,
It's because of the bad omens.
उस बहुत रियलाइजेशन चाहिए।
And you need a lot of realization for that.
दे दान छूटे ग्रहण।
But give the donation and the
कोई
eclipse,
भी
the omens
विकार
can be
मेरे अंदर
removed.
हो, दो दान तो छूटे ग्रहण।
Even if
ये
there's-
रियलाइजेशन नहीं होगी,
Even if there's any vices inside, then just give that in donation and then you'll be
तन
able to
मन
become
धन
free.
में संबंध में सेवा कितनी भी करे, पुरुषार्थ कितना भी करे, सफलता नहीं मिलेंगी।
No matter how much service you do, how much effort you do, but if there are the bad omens, then you won't get success in anything.
इसलिए बाबा ने कहा है, अलबेलाई, सुस्ती और एक्सक्यूज देना, ये छोड़ेंगे नहीं तो कभी भी ग्रहचारी हटेंगे नहीं।
This is why Baba underlined it, that if you don't stop being lazy, careless, and giving excuses, then you'll never be able to. The omens will never be removed.
कभी पास्ट को न देखना, औरों को
Never
न
look at the
देखना,
past.
शांति से, यज्ञ में प्रेम से, प्यार से, अच्छा संबंध रखना, बाबा की दुआएं हैं।
So always to have a very good loving relationship with everyone, not to look at anyone else, but to experience Baba's blessings that keeps you free from getting involved with anything else.
इसलिए
but
जो
just
बाबा ने
looking after the yagya.
इसे जो बाबा ने कहा ना, 3 प्रकार के खाते को ध्यान रखो। एक पुरुषार्थ का खाता अच्छा हो,
Baba said
दूसरा
to,
दुआओं का खाता, तीसरा पुण्य कर्म का खाता। हर एक देखे मेरा तीनों खाते अच्छे हैं।
so Baba had said to keep an account, keep a chart of the 3 accounts that you have to accumulate. One is of the effort, to make sure that you're making the right effort. Second is the account of your blessings, that you're accumulating blessings. And the third of the charity, that you're constantly performing charitable actions.
जिनके ऊपर विस्पति की दशा नहीं है तो ग्रहचारी बैठी है, उसके आगे कई विघ्न भी आ जाएंगे।
Those who don't have the omens of Jupiter on themselves, but instead they have the bad omens, then they often face many difficulties, many obstacles.
विस्पति की दशा में अचानक अनहोनी बात हो जाएगी।
But when you have the omens of Jupiter, then suddenly things that you had thought was
कैसे?
impossible, that happens.
बाबा कहेंगे कैसे हुई?
And you see, you question, how did it happen? And you say, Baba made it happen. Baba will say, well, how did it happen?
सच्चे भावना से, दृढ़ संकल्प से बाबा ने कराया।
With your true bhavna, your true faith and feelings of love, and the honest heart, it's this that made it happen.
तो ये सच्चा पुरुषार्थ, संकल्प सच्चा।
So to have that truth and honesty in your effort.
आज दिन तक बाबा ने निमित्त बनाया है, सच्चाई से पुरुषार्थ, सच्चाई से सेवा।
So until today, Baba has made me the instrument, because I've been making effort with that honesty
जरी भी
and
चालाकी नहीं।
service with that honesty, and not trying to be
चालाकी
clever,
भगवान के घर नहीं चल सकती।
not trying to be clever in any way. Then you won't be able to stay in God's
दिखाए
love.
कुछ और, अंदर कुछ हो और।
Not that externally you show one thing and internally it's something
तो
else.
बड़ा सच्चे पुरुषार्थी थोड़े भी ऐसे हुए तो दिखावा बंद हो जावे।
So true effort makers, if even a few people become like that, then all the external show would
सच्चाई
finish.
बाबा को प्रत्यक्ष करे।
And they would be able to reveal the truth, and the honesty would be able to
इतनी
reveal Baba.
पावरफुल, जो कल बोला, निश्चय, भावना, विश्वास,
Yes.
इतना अच्छा हो।
Yesterday Dadi was talking about having that real bhavna, to have that faith, to have that trust. So all of this has to be really very powerful inside.
उसमें हमारे मीठे बाबा ने भले साकार में बच्चों ने इतनी रिजल्ट नहीं दिखाई, पर बाबा अभी तक भी हम बच्चों से निश्चय विश्वास से चला रहा है, चलाता रहेगा अंत तक। भले विघ्न अपना काम करे, बाबा अपना काम कर रहा है, करा रहा है।
Baba is so sweet that even though the children haven't yet showed him the results that he wants, still Baba is inspiring us to make effort, and he'll continue to do that till the last moment. that the children still continue to make that effort with that faith, with that honesty, and really able to reach the stage what Baba wants.
सबसे सही पुरुषार्थ, सच्चा पुरुषार्थ, खुद को अंदर से देखो, बाबा को देखो.
The real effort, the true effort is to look at the self within and to look at Baba.
मैं कौन हूँ, मेरा कौन है?
Who am I and who belongs to me? Who is
बस
mine?
इसमें है सच्चा में जय.
And it's this truth that will bring
बाकी
victory.
सब ठीक हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं.
And everything else will work out fine. I don't need to worry about anything.
ओके?
Okay.
फिनिश हो गया? ठीक है?
Do you want to?
और तो कुछ नहीं चाहिए?
You want to ask any more questions?
I think
भाई
it
चाबी
probably-
लगाई, खजाना खुल गया.
You wound Dadi with the key, and so the treasure store opened.
इतना हर एक डीप रहे, अंदर से अंतर्मुखी रहे.
So each one to go deep inside and remain introverted.
एकाग्रता की शक्ति को बढ़ाए.
Increase the power of concentration.
तो बाबा साथ में है, सेवा में सबका सच्चाई स्नेह संयोग है, हर एक अपना भाग्य बनाता है.
And Baba is with us, and in service, each one is creating their own fortune with that honesty and faith through their own fortune.
जब इसने सीरियस बात कही थी, कभी तुम सीरियस होती हो, तो इस पर मैं एक बात सुना देती हूँ.
One thing I'd like to share when he said that sometimes God is a little bit serious, a little bit strict.
ये मम्मा को मैंने देखा है, अभी भी देख रही हूँ. मम्मा का अपने संकल्प समय पर सफला करने का इतना अच्छा ध्यान रहा है. सुबह को कभी भी देखो ना, मम्मा बाहर बैठी होंगी, आंगन में ऐसे बैठी है. रात को देखो, शाम को, भले इतनी सब मम्मा सब, अभी तो बहुत डिपार्टमेंट सब संभालने वाले हैं. मम्मा सारा ध्यान जगह पर रखने वाली है. योग ध्यान बहुत. तो मम्मा फालतू बातों में नहीं आई कभी.
When you're talking about being serious, I remember Mama, and I've paid a lot of attention to Mama, and even now I see Mama, and what Mama used to do, even though nowadays you have lots of departments and many people to look after the departments, but in those days it was Mama who was looking after everything, and yet even though Mama was looking after everything, every time you saw Mama, then she'd always be lost in that state of remembrance.
Never.
And her total attention was on
बिल्कुल
never wasting any thoughts.
देखा मम्मा का कितना ध्यान है, जो बाबा सुनाता है धारणा मिलाने पे.
Mama used to pay so much attention to what Baba was sharing so that she was then able to imbibe it instantly.
तो एक बारी इसमें दो बातें हैं. फिर
Two things in this then.
ऐसे मैं नहीं थी, मुझे मम्मा बड़ी अच्छी लगती थी.
When I just come at that time, I used to really love seeing Mama. She was just someone so good.
फिर मैंने मनोहर को ऐसे ही कहा, तभी मन ऐसे दादी थोड़ी कहते थे. मनोहर, मम्मा से मैं थोड़ा डरती हूँ शायद, मैं सब मनोहर कैसे कह दिया. तो मनोहर ने जाकर मम्मा को कहा, ये आपसे डरती है थोड़ा. जो मैं नहीं थी, वो पुरानी थी. तो मम्मा मेरा हाथ पकड़ के कहती है, तो मेरे से डरती हो? तो मम्मा ऐसे देखा, कहती है, मैं डरती नहीं शायद. बाबा डरती नहीं पापा. इतना मुझे हल्का बना दिया, जो मम्मा से हाथ पकड़ो ना, करंट आवे, कुछ अच्छा शब्द बोले, खुशी हो जावे. बस इतना फायदा हो गया सारी लाइफ के अंदर. जो तभी कल भी बोला, मेरे से कोई फ्रेंडली नहीं है. सुना, कोई फ्रेंड, भाई आओ पकड़ो, थोड़ी अच्छी बात सुनाओ ना. टाइम ही नहीं है उनको कुछ भी.
Daddy was always hesitating a little bit going in front of Mama, and so they were very close in those days, and they didn't call one another Daddy. So she was telling Manohar Daddy, who had come into the yagya earlier, and Daddy was quite new. So she had shared with her, saying that I'm a little bit afraid of Mama, and so Manohar Daddy then had gone and told Mama, and so Mama came along sometime later and said, took hold of my hand, and took me along on a walk, and walking in a very friendly way. She's saying, "You're afraid of me?" And then Daddy said, well, not fear as such, but then Daddy explained. And then from that time onwards, Mama made her so light and became so light in that relationship in a very friendly way. But also when Mama took hold of my hand, then just touching Mama's hand, there was such a current that I felt that from that day onwards, I really felt that power. And that relationship from that day onwards, I remember till now also, that she made me so light in this relationship.
कम से कम 100 बातें मेरे पास है मम्मा ने ऐसा मुझे सिखाया जो आज दिन तक मेरे दिल में छपा पड़ा है practically.
There must be at least a minimum of 100 things that I've learned from Mama that have been imprinted in my heart that I've not forgotten even today. So that I'm using that even whilst walking along, doing everything now.
बहुत सिखाया.
Mama taught a lot.
एक बारी मैंने मम्मा कहती है तुम समझती हो कोई शिक्षा जो होती है अच्छी होती है मैं कहा हाँ जरूर कभी भी शिक्षा कभी मिले ना ले लेना चाहिए कभी नहीं कहना चाहिए बात थी तो नहीं मेरे को शिक्षा क्यों मिली वो दिन आज का दिन शिक्षा से प्यार है कभी भी दवाई होती है रख देते हैं ना मेरे और किसको देंगे ना कभी तुम थोड़ा ही बोला था वो शिक्षा मम्मा की आज दिन तक काम में आई है
Once Mama had asked, do you think it's a good thing to give some kind of correction to someone? And so Daddy said, yes, I'd really love it if someone was to tell me. And so Mama then clarified it further, saying that anytime someone says something to you, then you should never think that, well, I didn't do anything wrong, and so why are they giving me this correction in this way? But accept it. Daddy finds that or feels that now you tell someone something and they'll instantly start telling you answers back, saying, well, it's nothing to do with you or something. But Mama would say that, okay, someone has been given some medicine and you don't need it now, but you keep it with yourself. At some time it will be useful, so you keep that correction, whatever guidance was given, and it will be useful for you one day.
इसने क्वेश्चन एक लिखा था ज्ञान में आने के बाद पहले भी तुमको कुछ होता था क्या तो मेरे ज्ञान में पहले की भी साधारण लोगों से संबंध रखना संग रखना असुलझाने कोई सत्संग की बात करेगा कथा करेगा कोई ये करेगा नहीं तो मम्मा बाबा से इतना अच्छा मिला है जो कोई फालतू में टाइम गंवाने वाला है नहीं.
One of the questions was something about your life before coming to Baba, and so that is saying before coming to Baba, I never really enjoyed sitting around gossiping with anyone and talking about other worldly things. But if someone was to come and we'll have this satsang, the spiritual gathering, then I'd want to be part of that. And Mama and Baba also taught us so much that I never wanted to engage myself in any wasteful activity at all.
किसी ने ऐसे मम्मा को कहा मम्मा आप सदा सीरियस रहती हो बस मम्मा ने जो उस समय रूप दिखाया क्या समझते हो जैसे आप लोग वेस्ट टाइम करते हो हंसते बैठते वही करूं मम्मा सब समय का हंसेंगी मुस्कुराएंगी पर हाँ करे ऐसे बात करे कभी नहीं किया.
Once someone said to Mama, Mama, you're very serious. And so Mama gave them such an answer that after that no one dared say anything. And so Mama said, do you think I should also be wasting my time and talking loudly and just sitting around laughing and chatting in this way? And from that time onwards, they stopped asking Mama about any such things. But this was like showing that you don't really have that recognition of the time, the value of time and the things that Baba's teaching us. So putting all of that in practice, not coming into sound at all. So Mama never actually came into sound, laughing loudly or talking loudly at all.
अति सूक्ष्म बात है. बाबा मामा सीरियस नहीं होते थे, परंतु कोई बात करने वाला कोई समझदार होवे तो टाइम देंगे.
Something very subtle, very serious also, that Mama and Baba, they would never kind of say no to anyone, but if someone came and it was something worthwhile, something useful that they wanted to speak to them about, then they would give time.
ऐसे या तो आशीर्वाद लेंगे या ऐसे ही राय लेते हैं.
Some people come to Baba to ask something, but then they really don't actually have the intention of following the advice. So then they said that they've come just to take blessings, but then Baba wouldn't give advice to such people. It's like they're coming just to take Baba's time, but not really wanting to use it in the right way. Because internally they have false intentions. They're taking advice or asking for advice just for their own convenience.
साकार बाबा के एक बाबा बैठा झूपड़ी में मेरे बाबा फलाना कहता है बाबा से मेरे लिए श्रीमत लो ना बाबा का क्या श्रीमत है तो बाबा ऐसे बैठा है कहते श्रीमत तो क्या राय भी नहीं दूंगा.
So once someone had come and they were telling one of the sisters to go and ask Baba what is his Shrimat for me. And so Baba looked at this sister, and because he knew who this person was talking about, who was waiting outside, then Baba said, let alone Shrimat, Baba's not even going to give advice to anyone, to that person.
मैं बाबा को देख रही थी कहा बच्ची बाप के राय पर चलने वाला भी बहादुर चाहिए.
And so Dadi was there and she's just watching Baba and thinking that. And Baba said, child, someone has to be very courageous to be able to follow the advice that Baba gives. Very brave.
झूपड़ी में बैठा है.
This was sitting in Baba's hut.
राय पूछ रहा है मतलब से पूछ रहा है जैसे मुझे फंसाने के लिए पूछ रहा है.
It's like they're
तेरे
asking.
राय से पूछते तेरे से राय पे ली थी ना ऐसे थोड़ी किया था.
They're asking for Baba's advice. It's as though they're wanting to trap Baba so that they can then at the end say, well, Baba, I did this because you advised me to do that.
आपको करना भले करो.
If you want to do something, you go ahead. But it's not Baba's advice in that way.
किसी को कोई अच्छे बच्चे बाबा से पूछते थे ना बाबा तुमको राय दे सकता है.
So when this good children, those who are really honest and sincere, if they ask Baba for the advice, then Baba would say yes. And for some children, Baba would call them himself and give them advice.
इतना सीरियस नहीं बनना है पर समझदार बनना है.
So not to be serious in that way, but to be sensible. Okay.
सीरियस शब्द का बताते हैं.
You asked about being serious, so these were some of the experiences that we had with Baba.
Thank you, Daddy. Doesn't Daddy bring them alive? It's like we're there.
भैया से टोली बुरी है क्या? भाई तो इतना समय बिठाया है.
Everyone's been sitting here for so long, so we'll all get totally
अच्छा
now.
2 मिनट इतना पावरफुल घड़ी याद में रहने का इतना अच्छी आदत तो मैंने अपन से पूछती हूँ. दिन एक क्वेश्चन यही रह गया उसका अमृत वेले तुम क्या करती हो?
One question that was left out, what do you do at Amrit Vela? The question was, do you sit still or do you have thoughts in your mind?
Yeah, what is it?
तो क्या जवाब देंगे?
Simple है.
Short में जवाब दो. Short में जवाब दो. अमृत वेले क्या करते हो?
अमृत वेले इसलिए करते हैं अमृत वेला एक तो अपने लिए जरूर करेंगे.
अमृत वेला I definitely do for my own self.
दूसरा जहाँ रहते हैं वहाँ अगर मैं सो गई
The place that I'm staying at,
मैं उस स्थान में निकमी हूँ.
if I'm sleeping at Amrit Vela, then I'm as though I'm
मुझे
useless for
कई
that
बार
place.
डॉक्टरों ने कहा था तुम सवेरे उठो नहीं तो अच्छी तरह हार्ट पेशेंट दे रेस्ट करो ना.
Many times my doctor told me that you don't wake up early in the morning because you're a heart patient, so you should get good rest instead.
तो मैंने कहा अच्छा ये पुणे की बात है और मैं 10 मिनट भी बोल नहीं सकती थी.
When Dadi was in Pune, there was such a condition at that time
कहता
that
सीधी लेटी रहो ना.
she wasn't able to speak for more than 10 minutes, and the doctor would advise her
अच्छा
to
मैंने
remain
कहा
lying down.
अच्छा जगेगी नहीं पर मैं जागेंगी जरूर.
And so then, yes, she didn't want anyone to awaken her, but she would naturally awaken.
तो मैं क्या करती अभी तक भी उठ के बिजली का स्विच ऑन करके बैठ जाएंगी. क्या भाई
Even now, when it's that time, 4 o'clock, she'll automatically wake up, and doesn't matter if anyone else is there or not, but I'll just switch on the light and sit.
टेंशन रोड चाहे बाबा भवन अभी तक इतनी पावरफुल तभी है. चारू को मैं बहुत प्यार करती हूँ.
Even now,
अलका को प्यार
Tennyson
कर.
Road,
कोई दिन नहीं होगा जो लाल बत्ती जगे और सब सोए रहे. कभी नहीं होगा. तभी चारू जिंदा है.
that is saying she's very strict with Alka and Charuban also, but giving them a lot of love, because even today, there's never a single day when the red light is not on in Baba Bhavan, and even when they were in Tennyson Road, it was the same.
जहाँ बाबा के घर
They'd
रहे
wake up.
बाबा के घर रहे और बाबा के घर में हम अमृत वेले सोए रहे।
Staying
माँ
in
पापी है बच्चा बाबा का।
Staying in Baba's home and then to be sleeping during Amrit Vela, then that's like being
आदत पड़ जाती है सुस्ती की।
great sin, and you develop the habit of being lazy.
बाबा हमारे को इतना अलर्ट बना करके विश्व को वाइब्रेशन दिलाने चाहता है। सारे विश्व को पता है ये 4 बजे अमृत वेले उठते हैं।
Baba's wanting to make us alert and give those vibrations to the world, because the whole world knows
सारे विश्व को मालूम
that
है।
we get up at 4 o'clock to do that service for the world.
जब लंदन में पहले मैं आई तो इंडिया का 4 बजा, यहाँ का 4 टाइम डिफरेंट।
When I first came from London, then there was the concern of the time difference. It's 4 o'clock there or 4 o'clock here.
तो बाबा ने प्यार से कहा बच्ची जहाँ भी अमृत वेला होगा ना तो वहाँ तुम्हारे साथ हाजिर हूँ।
And then Baba said with a lot of love, child, wherever you are at Amrit Vela, the local time, Baba will be with you.
जहाँ भी अमृत वेला होगा मैं तुम्हारे साथ होऊंगा, तुम्हारे सामने आऊँगा।
I'll always be in front of you. I'll come in. I'll be
ये
with
है
you and come in
बाप और
front of
बच्चे के
you.
मिलन का अनुभव वातावरण में भी हो। जो आत्माएं बाबा के पास आए तो उनको भी अनुभव हो। कोई दूर बैठे भी कोई कहे अमृत वेले तो मुझे बाबा को याद कर। हाँ हाँ मैं तुमको नहीं याद करेगी, तुम उसका याद करना, तुम्हारे वाइब्रेशन पहुंच जाएंगे। समझा?
So this is the experience of the meeting of the child and the father, to spread those vibrations into the atmosphere also. And some people say, remember me. And Dadi says, no, I'm not going to remember you, but you come and stay in remembrance in such a way that you're able to catch those vibrations also.
मेरी बात समझी ना?
You understood?
मैं तुमको याद नहीं करेंगी।
I'm not going to
तुम
remember
अमृत
you,
वेले याद में बैठना।
but you sit in remembrance at
तो तुम
Amrit
पहुंच
Vela
जाएगा।
and you'll catch the vibrations.
तभी तुम अच्छा होता है, तुमको अमृत वेले का प्यार है, तो ये पता है इसको।
You have love for Amrit Vela, and that's why you're so good.
समझा?
Thank you.
मैं
Thanks, Annie.
Thank you very
सच्चा
much,
बच्चा
Robin.
बाबा का जो है ना, जो बाबा कहता है ना उसमें एक्यूरेट रहता है ना, रिकॉर्ड अच्छा हो जाता है।
The true, honest children who remain accurate in everything that Baba's teaching, their record remains good. They receive a lot of love from Baba.
और बताऊं क्या?
अभी पूरा
सच्चा बच्चा बनना हो, ठहरो। ऐसा दिन फिर थोड़ी आएगा। सच्चा बच्चा बाबा का बनना तो क्या करना है?
What should you do if you want to be Baba's true, honest child?
एक योग का चार्ट सवाए बाबा के कभी कोई याद ना आए,
To have such a
न मुझे
chart,
कोई याद करे।
to have such a chart of yoga that you never remember anyone else, and no one else should remember you either.
कोई याद भी ना करे,
No one should remember you.
जाकर बाबा को याद कर।
They should go and remember Baba.
दूसरा, चरित्र कार ऐसे अच्छा हो, तुम भी ऐसे करती हो।
My record, the record of my character, my behavior should be so good, so that no one then can point a finger to me saying,
Record
you're
अच्छा।
also doing this?
कभी रिकॉर्ड खराब ना हो।
So my record should never be spoilt in any way.
तीसरा, पोता मिल एक एक्यूरेट।
My account should be very accurate.
बाबा आपके भंडारे में ये है, ये हो रहा है।
Baba, this is what's coming into your pandara, this is what's happening, but not giving roundabout figures, this and that, and excuses.
तो
And
बाबा के पास पोता मिल लिख करके देते थे कोई,
someone would come and give their accounts to Baba.
किसी का ऐसे फेंक देता था।
For some people's accounts, Baba would just throw
झूठा
it
पोता
away,
मिला है।
saying that that's false accounts.
यहाँ से एक महीने का दूसरे महीने में दूसरे महीने ऐसे करके पोता
It's
भेज
like
दिया।
there's constant mixture from the month forward, the
आंखों से
month
फेंकता
afterwards.
था।
And so I saw that practically, Baba would just
किसी
throw
से
it away.
अच्छी तो देखता था।
And some people's accounts, then Baba would look at it with love.
अभी who am I? हर एक पूछे अपने से।
Each one to ask the self,
बाबा देखता है
who am I?
कौन सा मेरा बच्चा, मेरा अच्छा दिल का सच्चा।
So Baba seeing which child of mine is it that is so honest in their heart.
आजकल के ज़माने में भूलें करते भी है, मसाला माफ़ी मांगे।
In today's world, they make so many mistakes and they wouldn't even think about asking for forgiveness.
बाबा जानता है ना, सब ठीक है ना, अभी तो नहीं होता है, हो गया ना सब।
They say, well, Baba knows and it's okay. It doesn't happen otherwise. It's happened, so what?
अरे तो बाबा को एक बारी भूल हुई, मैंने लिखी बाबा को,
Made a
छोटी सी हुई,
mistake, a small mistake once, and I wrote to Baba about it.
फिर रूबरू आई,
And then I came personally
मैंने
in
कहा
front of
बाबा मेरे
Baba.
से भूल हो गई ना, कहा बच्ची हो गई, लिखा ना तुमने, मैंने कहा बाबा हो गई, रूबरू माफी तो मांगेंगी ना.
So she had already written to Baba asking for forgiveness, but when she came personally, then she's crying in front of Baba, Baba, I made this mistake. And Baba's
अच्छा
telling her, but
बच्ची
you've written
भूल जा.
about it. And Dadi is saying, but no, I have to tell you personally about it also. And
अंदर से
only then
पक्का
will I
होता
feel
था,
comfortable with
ये
myself.
भूल फिर से मेरे से न होवे.
And inside she was wanting to make it firm in herself that I shouldn't make the same
तो
mistake
बाबा माफ
again.
कर देता.
And then of course Baba would forgive you.
बाकी ऐसे भूले करते रहो, वाले बिल चलते चलो.
But not that you continue to make mistakes and
बाबा
move
क्या
along
करेगा?
carelessly. What's Baba going to say
क्या
then?
करेगा?
What can Baba do then?
बस कहेंगा ड्रामा, जो उस बच्ची का पर ड्रामा के छोड़ता भी नहीं है, फिर भी ऐसे ऐसे खींचता है, समझाता है, सब बताता है.
Baba will say, well, it's the drama, but then even then he doesn't leave us alone.
कभी
And
कोई
he'll
बच्चे की आंख खुल
call
जाए,
you and open and explain to you so that perhaps your eyes would open and you'd
और
understand.
सपनों में भी आता है,
And he
सपनों में
even
भी आता
comes
है,
into some people's dreams.
पर फिर भी केयरलेस,
But still some remain careless.
बहाना देना,
They give excuses.
और बहाने की लिस्ट अंदर तैयार रखी है.
It says that they've got a list already prepared of excuses.
उनका कोई बहाना सुनने बैठ के पहले.
So they're looking for someone to sit and listen to their excuses.
सुनने का टाइम नहीं है.
Baba doesn't have
बहाना
time
सुनने का
to,
टाइम
Baba
नहीं.
doesn't have time to listen to the excuses.